All right, guys, we've got a good email to go over today from a young man named Sammy, who's 19 years old. Talks about his experience with the young women back when he was in high school and even now. So let's jump into this. He says, "There's something that you've talked about in a few videos that I would like to give my 2 cents on as a 19-year-old man. It seems like in a lot of your videos, you don't agree with the blanket statement, women have always been like this, when it comes to how normal having a high body count or being trashy in general is with young women today. I've heard you say that a few young men that go to your local gym talk about the girls in mass watching and sharing photos and videos of corn movies or vulgar IG or TikTok pages on their phones at lunchtime. And I can second that. I've seen it a lot back when I was in high school. I don't have an answer to this topic. I just wanted to vent because I love the idea of marriage and family, but I don't think any women around me feel the same way. And most girls around me when I was in high school were fully addicted to adult movie extremes and proudly talked about that, along with their high body counts. It was actually pretty disturbing. I love the channel, man. Sammy." Thank you, Sammy, for the email. Yeah, this is very disturbing. And this is, again, people get mad at me when I talk about like the female nature argument. I'm not saying the female nature argument isn't real. What I'm saying is that's not where the bulk of your focus needs to be as far as like trying to turn this ship around with, I'm just going to say it, how low quality most women in the West are today. I fully blame pop culture because that's what's normalized and promoted the bad behavior. I've had a lot of comments of people saying, women, I'm 57 years old, I'm 65 years old. Back when I was in high school, girls were doing this too. I'm not saying they weren't. What I'm saying is, I don't think, and I don't think you're going to convince me that it was this normal. I think that shame still existed back then. What I try to explain is that now these young men are telling me that these girls, they're all acting like this. I don't think back in 1955 or 65 or whatever, I don't think every girl in the high school slept with 50 guys already, 100 guys already. I don't think that. I think you had your town bicycles, but they were much more few and far between. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am. I don't think this many women acted so trashy way back then. Yes, you had those women. Yes, they were all capable of that. But I think a lot of them were a little more proud of themselves for being better than that. We have created a world now with music and culture and smartphones in general. We have created a culture now when it comes to sex and vulgarity that is so out in the open that like he said and other young men have told me, we've got girls in middle school that are saying, watching, and talking about and apparently doing things that are very, very over the top. You should not see young women that watch corn extremes like it's just the Weather Channel. Like, does that not resonate with you guys on a level of disturbing that's scary? To those of you that are like doom and gloom and have given up on dating and marriage and don't want any part of it, I get it. But for young men to want to have a family, that's a terrible thing to hear. So many people today either A, bury their head in the sand and ignore this. B, they try to just overlook it in general and minimize it. Or C, they outright deny it. I think that there has to be some level of people in general coming together. I'm not going to necessarily say like bringing shame back, because that might not be the most elegant way to say this, but we have to start having louder and louder conversations about, especially, again, some people aren't going to like how biased this is, but especially with young women. It shouldn't be normal for them to consume this content. Because again, I haven't made this video yet, but I want to talk about the psychological effects of the corn movies. Because I always see the therapists and the mental health experts on YouTube that talk about, mostly women too, by the way, that talk about the dangers of corn videos. And when they talk about that, they say the dangers of corn videos with young men. They say young men shouldn't be watching it specifically. And I know why they're saying that. It's because they're probably addicted themselves. Adult videos, corn videos, and that vulgarity in general is far more damaging to young women than it is young men. It's not even close. The fact that everyone gaslights and says the opposite just blows my mind. That is the one of the biggest gaslighting talking points that we have right now on YouTube when it comes to mental health and dating, and women that come on here and say that those movies are not a problem for women, but it is for men. They don't specifically say that, but I haven't heard one talk about the damages that it does on women. Women have a connection and a deep-rooted, foundational emotional drive when it comes to sex and the chemicals that are released in that activity. Women have that on a level that is miles ahead of men. Young men can bust one out and then say, okay, cool, what's for dinner? Young women, on a psychological level, are not wired that way. And if our young women are becoming that way, that's a whole other problem in itself. That means these women literally are like becoming the men that they want to date, as Rollo or whoever has said many times. If we have a society full of young women that are now so masculine that they need higher and higher extremes like this to get stimulated, and they can do that while simultaneously shutting off the emotional bond and connection that comes along with that act for them, that's supposed to come along with that act for them, we're in more danger than I even thought. This isn't okay. Pop culture and smartphones, everything, just normalizing this stuff is not okay. That's what you guys need to pay attention to. Again, not saying like female nature, hypergamy. That's not the point of this topic. My point is that we need to pay more attention to how normal and how acceptable so many young women think that the trashy lyrics, the trashy behavior are. Like, these young women are proud of that. Nobody shames anybody anymore for that. The men still simp to the women that behave this way. They still walk, talk, and act like those trashy women are above them when they act this way. Back in the old days, you think these real old school men would have simped to women that proudly behave this way on social media, in public, at lunchtime, in their groups of friends? You think men would have respected them and simped for them when they act that way? Not a snowball's chance in hell. The conversation needs to really start changing in our society if we're going to even have a chance at, saving the dating market. Men need to start making it very clear to women at a young age, apparently, if you act this way, if you're consuming that content, either in the open or if I find out you're doing it privately, you are trash. You are trash to be looked down upon. Sorry if that's extreme to some of you guys. That's the truth. Women, especially young women that are watching this stuff, that are especially into the extremes of that stuff, not just like the psychological romance. Women that are into like the physical extremes and the this and the that and the I did something that's so wild. And women that are acting that way should be shamed. The problem is that shame has gone away. I mean, we shame young men now forever. We shame young men more than ever. So it's not the shame that we've turned away from. It's just the shame of young women that we've turned away from. Young men are shamed more than ever. They're shamed for being young men. They're shamed for everything that makes a young man. Not just anything vulgar that they do or extreme that they do. Yet our young women have gone down this road of trashiness and vulgarity at such a young age. And we are not only are we not shaming it, we are promoting it. So you tell me, how should we steer this conversation? Because I'm telling you guys, man, sorry, I got the hiccups a little bit. It doesn't get better if we don't change the conversation. Some of you say we're doomed. Regardless, you still got to try. That's my opinion. Anyways, like the video if you did like the video, guys. Again, it offsets the haters, and I got plenty of them. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please make sure that you're still subscribed if you're seeing this video right now and you have subscribed before. Until next time, guys, God bless.